Knowing how to use Trello is not enough when it comes to running your business. As your business becomes more complex, your workflow typically does too, and that's where the Trello card and board automations come in so things don't get complicated and overwhelming. In this video, I'm gonna give you the top 7 workflow automations to get more done in less time with less stress. So let's get into it.
You may have seen older tutorials with the Butler power-up. That is gone now. Automations are natively built right into Trello, and that's exactly what we'll be working on with this video. Every automation in Trello follows the same structure. You define a trigger first, and then you define one or more actions that happen when that trigger fires. Here's my Trello demo board, and up at the top, you will see the automations button. This is where you're going to start every time you want to create an automation. So click into that and it will bring up a menu. In Trello, automations are called rules. So click on rules and the main automations menu will pop up. Now in the middle here is where your rules will be stored. This will be empty if you've never created a rule before. And then you have a menu on the left with all of your automation options. So let's go ahead and build our first automation. Again, once you click on automations, you will end up in this menu. The first thing that we'll do is go into rules. From there, to create our first automation, click on the blue button that says create automation. First off, we have to create our trigger. So click on the add trigger button. You'll see there are several types of rules that you can create by selecting a variety of different triggers. For our first automation, we are going to create an automation that anytime a card is added to a list, that card is automatically moved to the top of the list. For the trigger, we are going to start in the Move Card section. I'll set the trigger to when a card is added to a specific list. I'll choose the inbox list. I'll make sure this is set to by anyone, so the rule applies to anyone working on the board and not just me. I'll click the plus icon to add that trigger. Now that the trigger is set, we can define the action. When a card is added to the inbox list, I want Trello to automatically move that card to the top of the same list. So the first option here says move the card to the top of the list. Then we select the list name, which is inbox list. Once those are set in Trello, it will give you a quick review. So when a card is added to the list inbox, it will move the card to the top of the inbox list. As long as everything checks out, click on the Save button right in the top corner. Once that is saved, Trello will take you back into the Rules menu. Anything you add will show up at the bottom of the list, so you might have to scroll all the way down. Trello gives me a summary of exactly what this automation does, and it says when a card is added to the inbox list by anyone, the card will be moved to the top of the list. So let's X out of this menu, and then let's test our automation. Exit out of the automations board to get back into the main Trello board, and I'll add a card to the bottom of the inbox list. After a second or two, you'll see the card automatically jumps to the top. This is a simple automation, but it's extremely useful for lists when new tasks are constantly coming in because it keeps the most recent items visible by default. Let's move on to reoccurring tasks. And this is by far one of the most requested types of automations I see from the comments on my other Trello videos. Anytime you have tasks that repeat on a schedule where you want the same type of task and the same checklist to show up again and again, automations can handle that for you. As an example, I'll show you how to create a daily morning routine task. Before we build the automation, there's one setup step I highly recommend. On this board, I have a card called Checklist Templates. And now it doesn't matter which list this card lives in. In this case, I created a list just to hold template cards. But inside of that checklist templates card, I store any checklist that I want to reuse regularly, like a morning routine checklist, a video production checklist, a blog publishing checklist, and a few others. If you look at the card name, you'll notice that the card starts with 3 asterisks. That's intentional, and I'll show you why. Exit out of the card and go into any normal card. Whenever you add a checklist manually into a Trello card, you can either create a new checklist or copy one from another card on the board. Those checklist sources are sorted alphabetically. By adding the 3 asterisks, this card always appears at the top of the list, making it quick and easy to find. This is the first thing you should set up. So create a checklist templates card and store all of your reusable checklist here. Now let's go ahead and build the automation for the reoccurring task. Specifically, I want a morning routine card with the morning routine checklist to show up every day automatically in the doing/today list. I'll go to the top bar and click on the automations button and then click on rules. Once the menu pops up, go down to the column on the left and then click on scheduled. Once that menu pops up, click on the blue button that says create automation. Again, we will start with creating the trigger, so select add trigger. For the trigger, I have a few different options, but in this case, I want to select the first option, which is every day. We are going to change that to every weekday, then click on the 6 a.m., then click on the plus icon to save the trigger. Next, I'll define the actions. I want Trello to create a card called Morning Routine. Add it to my today list, and then add the morning routine checklist from the checklist templates card. To do that, we can look at the first option where it says create a new card with the title. I want the card to be called Morning Routine, so I'll type Morning Routine into the text box. From there, we tell Trello what list we want that card to be created in. So let's select the list name. In this case, we want it to show up in the doing/today list. Once that is entered, click on the checkmark box, then enter the exact name of the checklist that I want to copy. In this case, the checklist name is Morning Routine Checklist. I can also stack additional actions here, like adding a label. Click on the tag icon and then select the label you want. I'll click on my green label, which is for routines. Once everything looks good, click on the plus icon to save the action. Do a quick review of the automation we just created, and then click the save button. Now, I'm not going to wait till 6 a.m. to test this, but I do recommend testing this right now to make sure it was done correctly. With any automation, there is a Run Now feature. I use this to test the automation. There is a little rocket ship icon, and when you hover over it, it says Run Now. This will immediately run the automation we just created. We will click on Run Now, and then go back to the main Trello board and see if the morning routines card is created. As you can see, Trello automatically created the card, applied the label, and added the checklist. Clicking into the card, you can see the full checklist has been added. Using this exact same setup, you can create reoccurring weekly tasks, monthly reminders, payroll tasks, and anything else that needs to happen on a schedule. This is one of the most powerful automation features because it ensures the right task shows up at the right time every single time. Now let's look at automations designed to keep your board clean. We can add a daily and weekly cleanup automation. This board follows a left to right workflow, which is how most Trello boards are set up. Tasks come into the inbox, get prioritized for the week, then prioritized for the day, and then move through different stages of work until they get to the done list. The problem is that over time, boards tend to get clogged, tasks come in faster than completed, lists grow longer and longer, and then productivity drops. The more cluttered your board becomes, the harder it is to focus. Here's how we can use automations to fix that. So this automation, we can call it Daily Cleanup Automation. To set this up, go back into Automations, click on Rules, then click on Scheduled, and then click on Create Automation button. Once the trigger pops up, click on the Add Trigger button. For the trigger, I'll choose every day at 9 p.m., so enter your desired time in. Once that is set, click on the plus icon. For the action, I'll click on the Move Cards option. We want to look at the first option here. I'll move all cards from the Today list back into this week list. Once those are in place, click on the plus icon to save the action. Then click on the Save button to save the automation. What we did here was if a task is still in the Today list at 9 p.m., it's basically not getting done today, so it moves back into the This Week list. Now let's create a quick weekly cleanup automation. This one will happen at the end of the work week and take tasks and cards that are not done from this week list and put them back into the inbox list. To set this up, click on the Automation button, then click on Rules. From there, click on Scheduled, and then click on Create Automation. Then finally, click on Add Trigger. This time, look at the second option in the list. The trigger will be every Friday at 10 p.m. So select the day from the drop-down menu. I'll pick Friday, and then with the clock icon, I'll set the time to 10 p.m. Now that the trigger is set, click on the plus icon. The action will move all cards from the This Week list back into the Inbox list. So click on the Move Cards option, then choose the list name and select This Week. Then in the next drop-down, select the Inbox list. Once that is all set, click on the Save button on the top right. What this gives us is an automatic cleanup process. By default, cards move from left to right as work gets done. But these automations push unfinished work back upstream so it can be reprioritized. If a task is still in the Today list, at 9 p.m., it's not getting done today, so it moves back into This Week. And if a task is still in This Week on Friday night, it's not getting done this week, so it moves back into the Inbox. The benefit of that is that your Today and This Week lists will stay clean. Instead of blindly carrying tasks forward, you're forced to intentionally decide on what actually deserves your focus each day and each week. Now, you can take this even further with a monthly cleanup. Chances are that if a card or task has been sitting in my inbox list for 30 days, it's probably not going to get done anytime soon. So you are going to either do it at a later time or maybe never get to it at all. But we don't want to delete that card in the case we end up doing it, but we also don't want it hanging around in our inbox list clogging up our system. And this is where the monthly cleanup action is going to solve the problem. By automatically moving any card that has been sitting in the inbox list for over 30 days into the Maybe Someday list. To create this automation, click on the Automations button and then click on Scheduled. And then click on the Create Automation button. From there, we will add the trigger by clicking on Add Trigger. We need to create a trigger that runs once a month on the first of every month at 11 p.m. I choose a slightly later time so that the other automations we created earlier run first. This time, instead of moving everything, I'll move only cards that have been sitting in the inbox for more than 30 days into the Maybe Someday list. Go to the second to last option where it says every month on the first, then change the time by clicking on the clock icon to 11 p.m. Once that is set, click on the plus icon. For that action, we are going to move the card from the inbox list to the Maybe Someday list. But the card has to be sitting in the inbox list for 30 days. So click on the Move Card and then go to the option Move All Cards for more than 30 days in this list. We are going to click on the list name and select the inbox list and have them move to the list called Maybe Someday. Once everything is set, click on the plus button, do a quick review. So every day at 11 p.m., all cards that are more than 30 days old in the inbox list are moved to the Maybe Someday list. Everything looks good, so click on the Save button on the top right corner. Now you can see that our new automation has been added, and let's test it. Again, I'm not going to wait until 11 p.m. for this to automatically run, so I'll click on the Run Now button. Trello says the automation has run and is complete. Then I'll go back into my main Trello board and you can see some of the items that were previously in my inbox list have been moved over to my Maybe Someday list. Once a month, I would recommend going into your Maybe Someday list and either deleting what is no longer relevant, or if something is relevant, move it back into the inbox list. Now let's talk about staged-based automations, which are some of the most powerful ones you can build. In many workflows, different stages require different people, tasks, and processes. For example, with video content, I might handle the production, but once that's done, I have to send that video to a team member to post it. And then there's a long list of steps that need to happen after the video is published. I already have a post-upload video checklist that is stored in my checklist templates card. So if I click into the card, you can see that checklist. I also have a ready to publish list on my board. This is where I can move cards once the filming is complete. I'll create an automation where the trigger is when a card is added to the Ready to Publish list. The actions will add the post-upload video checklist from the checklist templates card, and then assign a specific team member and post a comment tagging that person to let them know the video is ready to post. To create this automation, click on the Automations button and then click on Rules. Then click on the Create Automation button, then click on the Add Trigger button. Look at the second option down and select when a card is added to and then add the list name Ready to Publish. And then make sure you click on the person icon and select by anyone. Once that's set, click on the plus icon. Now for the action, we are going to add 3 different actions. We need to add a checklist, add a team member, and then add a comment telling that team member what to do next. So first, click on the checklist button. In the checklist name, type Post Upload Video Checklist, and then click on the plus icon. Now we need to add another action, so click on the Add Another Action button. This time, we are going to add a team member, so click on Members. The third option down says Add Member with the username to the card. You can type the username in or click into the box to see all of the members on the board. Since this is a demo board and it's just me, I'll assign it to myself by clicking on my username and then hit the plus icon. Then finally, to add the last action, we want to send a comment to the team member, or in this case, me. So click on Add Another Action and then click on Content. The third option down says Post Comment. In the text box, you can literally add whatever you want. So I'll type a quick message and tag a team member. I'll type @Steve. The video is ready for editing. Once that is set, click on the plus icon. Now for a quick review, the actions will add post upload checklist from the checklist templates card, assign a specific team member, and post a comment to let that person know that the video is ready. That looks good, so I'll click on Save. Let's test this out on our Trello board. I'll move one of my video cards to the Ready to Publish list, and you can see the automation has added the checklist, added the member, and made a comment. Now, whenever a card enters this stage, the correct checklist appears and the correct person is added to the card and notified automatically. This type of action acts as a built-in quality control and ultimately allowing you to do more consistent work when you follow a defined process. Now let's go a step further using advanced filters. Let's say we are publishing 2 different types of content like videos and blog posts. When I add a blog post card to the Ready to Publish list, I don't want Trello to add a video production checklist. But then when I add a video card to the Ready to Publish list, I do want Trello to add the video production checklist. We can set this up easily with advanced automations that use filters. To create this automation, click on Automations, then click on Rules. From there, click on Create Automation, then click on the Add Trigger button. The second option down, we are going to make the trigger when a card, and then select the filter with the red video label, then hit the plus icon. This is added to the Ready to Publish list. Once that is set, click on the plus icon. For the action, click on Checklists. Under the first option, add the checklist name to the card. Enter the checklist name. In this case, it's Video Production Checklist. And then select the Add button. Once that is done, select Save and go back to your main Trello board. This allows different types of work to move through the same stage while triggering different automations. When I test this by adding a card with the video label, you'll see both checklists appear because the original rule still fires. As a general rule, when you build more complex automations, you want to think carefully how they interact. Automations can run too often, overlap, or even create loops if you're not careful. And that's why I staggered the start times for my cleanup automations. Now, the last automation, I'm going to show you one of my favorites, and this is a very simple one to add. And this can also save you a huge amount of time when set up correctly. Let's say that a card has a checklist, and then when all the items are done on that checklist, it moves into the next stage in the process or another list. Let me add a list called content production. So when we add a card to the content production checklist, it will automatically add the checklist, but once that checklist is complete, it will automatically move that card into the ready to publish list. That way, this automation will trigger the next automations that happen in the ready to publish list we created earlier. This also prevents any human error from completing the task and forgetting to move the card over to the next stage. I'll create a new automation by clicking on the Automations button and then clicking on Rules. Then click on Create Automation. From there, click on Add Trigger button. From there, select when a card is added to the list name and then select Content Production List. And then click on the blue button, click on the checklist, and then add Content Production Checklist. Hit the plus icon and then hit Save. Now I'm going to go back to the main board and test it out. So when I move a card into the content production list, a checklist is created. If you click into the card, you can see the checklist. The second part of this automation is once all of these tasks in my checklist have been marked complete, and I'll do that right now, I want the card to automatically move into the next list, which is the next stage in the process. Think of it like an assembly line. So to do that, click on the Automations button and then click on Rules. Then click on the Create Automation button. From there, click on the Add Trigger button. For the trigger, click on Checklist and then look at the second option that says when a checklist is completed. We are going to add the checklist name as Content Production. So now the trigger is when the content production checklist is completed. Click on the plus icon. For the action, click on Move the card to the top of the list or the bottom of the list, whatever you prefer, on the list name, which in this case is the Ready to Publish. Once that is set, click on the Add button. That looks good, so I will save that. Going back to the Trello board, let's move a card from any list into the content production list. You'll see the content production checklist has been added. Let's go into the card and mark complete all the tasks in that checklist. Once that is done, we'll exit out of the card and you can see it has automatically been moved into the Ready to Publish list. Remember, those automations we added before, that will automatically be added to the card. So click back into the card and you can see that the other automations have been triggered. Now we have automations triggering other automations. At this point, you can assign or unassign team members, add comments, apply labels, and fully automate the handoff between stages of any of your projects. This creates a true workflow pipeline inside of Trello.
I hope you found these Trello automations useful and find ways to work them into your workflow. I guarantee by adding these in, you'll save tons of time within your business. And if you're looking to fully integrate your business into Trello, I have a free workshop. It's linked in the description below. And if you're looking to deep dive into more Trello tips and walkthroughs to streamline your business, check out the video right here. And until next time, stay productive.